Welcome to Bird Spray Sports, where we cover Orioles and Ravens news weekly. We're your host. Well, I'm your host, Jared. I'm gonna give TJ a little bit of a break here. Not for this isn't gonna be a permanent thing. It's probably only gonna be for this video, but probably a lot of you out there don't know how much of a work and school balance can really, tire you out. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of a break just for this video. He'll be back for the post game video after this game. But to get right into it, I'm just gonna go over, this is just a pregame for the Ravens and Raiders, which is tomorrow. The season opener or the home season opener for the Ravens. The Ravens obviously last week or a few weeks, it feels like a few weeks ago at this point, but the first week of the season, they opened up. They got the Thursday night opener versus the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately, fell to them. Our post game video is up, so make sure you check that out. Give our thoughts and reactions, read off stats of that game as well. So make sure to check that out. But I didn't, I'm not entirely familiar with the Raiders situation. I do know, that they had a little bit of a QB battle before the season between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, which Gardner Minshew wound up winning. I know we haven't played them, I don't think, since 2021, which was that was funny enough. That was the opening week for us as well. You know, um, 2021. That was the year right after COVID, and they finally let fans in, and we got the Monday Night Football primetime matchup. We did lose that game. That was a hell of a season. All those injuries. A hell of a season in a bad way. So excuse me. But I think yeah, we lost that game in overtime. But our O line was pretty shaky then. Ronnie Stanley was come back from injury. How we had Villanueva, and we know how good he was with us, which was nothing. And we're not at all, I should say. So I guess kind of similar situation. With our own line maybe being a little bit shaky. It got graded pretty well. I wouldn't say pretty well, but like, I think Lamar probably had a lot to do with evading sacks or whatever. He only got sacked once last week, but it's gonna be very interesting to see how they go up against Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins and others. So they're gonna be very interesting to see. I think the Ravens should win, but I'll get into that at the end of this video. But I'm gonna share my screen here, and we're gonna go over stats. And there's no person to say I can you see my screen, but the Raiders did lose last week. Believe they lost to the Chargers 20 something to something. It was 20, yeah, 22-10. So yeah, if anybody remembers last season, me and TJ would go over the stats, like what are their points per game, how many yards per game. But it's only 1 week. I mean, they're averaging 10 points per game, they're allowing 22. It's 1 week of the season, So I'm just gonna get right into the stats here. Excuse me. Um Offensively, Gardner Minshew, like I said, is QB1. Aiden O'Connell, I believe, was QB1 for the Raiders at the end of the season last year. But Gardner Minshew, because I think what Garoppolo was their quarterback for most of last year. They got hurt or he was just trash or whatever, but he's gone. He's a free agent, I believe. But anyways, to go back into stats here, Gardner Minshew went 25 or 33 last week, 76 pretty much completion percentage for 257, a touchdown and an interception. He did get sacked 4 times, so that's something to look out for. Maybe our defense can wreak some havoc away. Ojabo, Matabike, Van Noy, if he's going to be playing. I don't know if he's going to be playing or not. I'm going to have to see that. But anyways, rushing, Zamir White goes 13 carries for 44 yards. Um, Alexander Madison goes for 5 carries for 19 yards. And Gardner Minshew gets 3 carries for 5 yards. So not a lot of rushing success last week, it seems. Anyways, the receivers are Jacoby Myers, 3 catches on 3 targets for 61 yards. Devontae Adams, obviously, everybody knows who Devontae Adams is, one of the best receivers in the game, or at least he was before he left to go to the Raiders. But he's still really good. Let's not cut him. Let's cut him some slack. He's had some very bad QB play, but he's still very good. But Devontae Adams last week went five receptions on 6 targets for 59 yards. Brock Bowers, our rookie tight end, went for 6 catches and 8 targets for 58 yards. Alexander Madison got some catches out of the backfield for 4 catches for 6 yards, 4 catches on 6 targets for 43 yards and a touchdown. Trey Tucker went for 2 receptions for 3 targets and 22 yards, and that's pretty much it. Their defense, Robert Spillane, I believe he played for the Steelers last. I remember he got a opening drive pick six versus the Ravens in 2020 when we were playing the Steelers. Here, that was the infamous 11-0 start for the Steelers that eventually fell apart. They gave Robert Spillane 7 tackles, 3 assists, 10 total, 1 tackle for loss. Marcus Epps, 3 total tackles. Two of them were solo, 5 total. I'm sorry, 3 solo tackles. Two of them were assisted, 5 total tackles. Max Crosby had a great week last week. I thought I said he had 4 sacks. He only had 1 sack, but I thought I said he had 4 sacks. I think there was somebody last week that had 4 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was somebody from the Bills. I'm not, or the Steelers. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll probably have to look that up. But Max Crosby had 2 total tackles. 3 of them were assisted. 3 total tackles. I keep saying total. 2 solo tackles. 3 of them assisted. 5 total. 1 sack. 1 tackle for loss. John Jenkins goes 2 solo tackles. 3 of them are solo. He is 5. And that's all stats. Christian Wilkins, I mentioned him earlier. 4 total tackles. 4 solo tackles, 1 assisted, and 5 total tackles. I'm gonna get that right by the end of the video. I'm gonna stop saying total tackles there. But anyways, Adam Butler has 3 solo tackles, 1 assisted, and 4 total. So does Jack Jones. Nate Hobbs has 3 solo tackles, one of them solo for 4 tackles. He also has a pass deflection. Not a lot of, obviously there's not going to be a lot of defensive stats here. I mean, the wide receiver got a defensive stat probably from the pick that Gardner Minshew threw. Um, Daniel Carlson went 1 for 2 last week. I know he used to be automatic. I don't know if he's fallen off, but I know he used to be automatic back then. AJ Cole, pretty good punter, 5 punts for 265 yards. His longest was 62, averaging 53 yards per punt. So he's pretty good. Um, very, how do I say, you know, it seems like they have a pretty decent defense. I know J.K. Dobbins was running all over them, and last week, maybe it's just because he more of a quick back or whatever. But I'm trying to see maybe if I can share anything else here. I don't think there's anything right now. Um, I know that Nate Wiggins isn't going to be playing for us. Um, Tyree Wilson's going to be out. Um, so these are the guys that are going to be out for this week in this game. Jackson Powers Johnson, rookie out of Oregon, I think. Um, might miss the game, illness. He's questionable. I probably should go over the Ravens injury report here while we still got it up. While I'm still sharing my screen. I'm never gonna get there if it wants to load all slow. Um, let's see here. All right, so Adisa Isaac's going to be doubtful with a hamstring injury. Nate Wiggins is already declared out with a neck injury. Like I said, he got in a car accident, so prayers to him. Hopefully he's all right. It did say neck concussion on the injury report, so hopefully he's all right. Van Noy is questionable. I don't know if he's going to play. I wouldn't imagine he does. He will play in this game. He got like poked in the eye or something or whatever. I didn't really see it on the broadcast, but he was complaining about the staff there, how in Kansas City, how they weren't taking care of him, correctly, or at least he felt like he was kind of, just kind of careless, how they were doing it there, but I don't know anything about that. I'm not a football player. I've never seen, I know that, Kansas City's, medical staff got graded like an F minus or something like last year or on the grade reports when it comes to that. And they got a lot of bad grades as well, so I'm surprised they have so much success. I guess that doesn't really equate to success for them, but I don't know. But anyways, to go back on topic, Ravens versus Raiders. Um, there's going to be a lot of big storylines for the Ravens, just from the top of the home opener, to how's the offensive line going to play? Is the secondary going to hold up with Wiggins out? I mean, obviously Wiggins didn't play much last week. Zach Orr did say in a press conference that he would get more snaps. Same thing with Trenton Simpson. He would get more snaps as the season goes along. I guess they're just gonna have to earn that. They don't want to just give it to him. Which I think that those two are upgrades over the position players that are on the field when they're not, which is Malik Harrison and Jalen Armour Davis. But I guess Jalen Armour Davis is probably better than the Malik Harrison situation because I thought Malik Harrison played a very poor game versus the Chiefs last week. Trenton Simpson almost saved the game. I mean, he almost had the game, changing pick right there. We would have started that drive, right there, at like the 40-yard line or whatever. We wouldn't have had to drive 90 something yards to at least tie the game in Kansas City, but it wasn't meant to be. But I guess the biggest story for me is just going to be, what's his pass rush going to be like if Kyle Van Noy can't go? Like is Ojabo going to get more snaps? Is Oweh going to get more snaps? Who's going to get the majority of the snaps? Like maybe Malik Harrison doesn't play as much as linebacker, maybe more outside linebacker instead of middle linebacker here, and maybe rushes the passer a little bit. I know that was the thing that they were experimenting on. I don't know if I didn't see much or all of that on last Thursday in Kansas City, but I don't know what they're gonna do with Malik Harrison. He's been on the team for a few years now, but I wasn't a fan of him as a covers linebacker whatsoever. And then that tackle attempt that he made, on Isaiah Pacheco last week as well, that was abysmal. That was absolutely abysmal. I didn't know what he was doing there, but I think overall, you know, the Ravens defense, it's gonna do a lot of growing. There's gonna be a lot of growing pains. I mean, obviously, you had the bust of coverages last week that Kyle Hamilton took responsibility for. I think overall our defense looks slow in Kansas. I didn't really get into that. I think TJ got into a little bit, but like the defense was really slow and sluggish last week. I don't know if that was because of the first week of the season or because of the delay or maybe they were a little bit nervous. I don't know what it was, but they seemed a little bit sluggish last week. So I'm going to be interested to see how they're going to do. Especially since it's most likely going to be Marlowe and Devontae Adams. Marlowe, you know, um, he's an Asian corner for us, but he's still very good, I believe. He wasn't, what's it called? Responsible for that blown covers. Like I said, Kyle Hamilton did take responsibility for that. But, I think that it's gonna be interesting to see how this defense is gonna gel over the next few weeks. Because I mean it doesn't get easy. This game isn't easy. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that, that we're gonna cakewalk this game, Maybe in reality we should, but like, the Ravens, they play down the competition sometimes, but I think that, it's like I said, like not that I think, but I know that it's not going to get easier. It's going to be Cowboys, Bills, Bengals, and I think after that it's the Commanders and Broncos. So a little bit of breathing room there, but or maybe it's Buccaneers. I don't remember the full schedule, in itself, but it's going to get hard. So the defense is going to have to, find piece by piece here, week by week, new things that, they're going to be able to do, or old things, or just things that are going to cement themselves as elite defense. Because it's not, I don't think this defense is going to be as good as last year's defense. I mean, obviously they lost a lot of pieces: Patrick Queen, Geno Stone, Jadeveon Clowney. They lost I think Ronald Darby. I think he's the one who left. Yeah, I think he was. But this defense, it's a lot of growing pains. With Nate Wiggins not playing next week, it's going to be interesting to see if he's even going to be back by the Cowboys game. I honestly would probably like to have him back in that game. Obviously, we got CeeDee Lamb and company there. And then obviously the week after that, I wouldn't say like the Bills have a lot of lockdown receivers, but I mean lockdown not lockdown receivers, but like elite receivers. I think their best ones like Khalil Shakir. Yeah, but again, I mean the week after that it's the Bengals, so they got Jamar Chase. He's having this whole contract dispute situation, but it's gonna be interesting to see what that's gonna happen there. And then T Higgins, I don't know if he's coming back anytime soon, but you know, um, yeah. But anyways, the offense, kind of talk about the offense for a little bit. Like I said earlier, I mean this offensive line maybe didn't pass the eye test. It seemed to pass every other test. I think they got a pretty good pass blocking PFF grade. I don't know how much of that has to do with Lamar or the pass blocking itself, but like I know they got a few good grades in certain, websites or whatever. So um, I really would like to see Ben Cleveland out there instead of Daniel Falele. I think that, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and trash the guy. I just don't think that he's NFL material for us. In my opinion, for a team that's trying to go for a Super Bowl, you know, um, that's just in my opinion, in my eye test. I'm not a pro at this. I'm not an offensive line coach or guru, whatever. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but from my eye test, I thought he didn't play a good game as well. So I would like to see Ben Cleveland and Makari out there on the right side of the offensive line. I didn't hear much of Voorhees last week, so that's probably a good thing. So maybe this could be a game where Derrick Henry eats, especially since we seen what J.K. Dobbins did to them last week. Went for like 130 something, I think. I know he went over 100 yards. I don't know how many yards he got exactly, but I know he got over 100 yards. So, um, shout out to him. We love J.K. Dobbins over here. No hate towards him. I mean, how could you hate him? He had a very confusing career here in Baltimore, from not getting RB1 carries at first to then getting hurt and coming back, getting hurt again, coming back again, and then getting hurt again. So it's just like it was an up and down career here for J.K. Dobbins. It really makes me sad though, because J.K. Dobbins had superstar potential for us. That first season he was here, he was an absolute dog. He was eating. It feels like he was getting first downs on every carry. Him and Gus were just a nice 1-2 punch, but you know, just he would have been huge for us last season. I'm telling you that now. J.K. Dobbins would have been. I'm gonna get mad thinking about this just because he got hurt the first game of the season. J.K. Dobbins would have been huge for the Ravens last season if he could have stayed healthy, he'd have been huge in the AFC Championship game, in my opinion. I'm trying to reference that every video, but it is what it is. But we gotta play him later in the season, so it might be a little bit of a maybe a revenge game for him. I doubt that, but anyways, so maybe Derrick Henry could eat. Maybe the defensive front isn't as good as we think. Maybe if our offensive line can get some push. They were not getting any push last week. It's not getting any easier this week with that defensive line. Excuse me. So very interesting to see how that's going to work out. So um I did see a quote. I think we talked about it on our post game video, but that Derrick Henry isn't going to be a third, back carry back for us, which is okay. I mean, we don't want to get him hurt. We want to have him, but he's got to be like a 15 to 20 carry guy, in my opinion, for us. He's got to be the main back. I mean, obviously, he's obviously going to be the main back, just because they're not going to, throw Justice Hill out there all the time, but I think when Keaton Mitchell comes back, it's going to be a nice 1-2 punch there. But you know, um, I would like to see him eat this week, though. Like I didn't think he didn't get a lot of opportunities last week. So, but anyways, to get into my prediction here, I do have the Ravens winning. I did have them losing last week, so I got them winning this week. We cannot go 0-2. Can't, because you're risking that at that point. You might go 0-3. You go on Dallas, and Dallas hasn't lost a home game in however long. I think it's been a few years. So um, don't want to go 0-2. You want to head to Dallas at 1-1. So but anyways, to stop, I'm yapping too much. I'm yapping too much here, but I think that the Ravens win 29-16. I know that's a kind of a random. That's probably like a scoreagami. But, I think that they win like 29-16. I don't think it's gonna be like a pretty game. I think they're gonna still figure some things out. I'd love for this to be like a Jackson 5 game or whatever, but I don't think that's gonna be the case yet. I'm very interested to see how the passing game is going to work. I mean the running game is going to work, and the passing. Obviously, the passing game. I'm excited to see how that's going to go. But I want this to be a game where Derrick Henry eats. So I think that we are going to win this game 29-15 or 29-16. I'll go 29-17. 16 feels a little bit too unreasonable. I'll go 29-17. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video here. Like I said, TJ is not gonna be gone for a long time. It's probably gonna be for this video. So we'll see him back in the post game video, hopefully the pregame video next week for the Dallas game. So but anyways, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All of our social media links will be in the description below, so make sure you follow that. I'm going to try to do the post game. The in-game updates for the Ravens. I'm also going to do an Instagram post as well, and a final post for that as well for tomorrow's game. So make sure you check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to our second channel, Casual Cinema. We promise that we're gonna get some movie reviews on there. Maybe some Flashback Friday movie reviews or whatever. But TJ, he's a busy man. So we're gonna have to give him when it comes to slack here. He's a busy man. So, anyways, like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we're out.